breaking up with friends sucks. Breaking up with lovers is already super bad. Breaking up with your friends is the fucking worst. Like, I get it. You've been friends for so long, you can't even imagine your life without those people. And you don't want to imagine your life without them because you love them, you trust them, you've known them forever. And being friends is all you really know. Like, it just makes sense until it doesn't. This is what happened to me. Some of the best friendships I ever had expired. I felt like I outgrew these people. We just grew in different directions and it just didn't click anymore. And it's the worst feeling in the world because you don't know what's happening. Very often, nothing bad happened and it's just like there's no reason for you to not be friends anymore. There's nothing you can hold on to that would like make it make sense. But at the same time, internally, you know, the time has come and you may be trying to convince yourself that you can hold on just a little longer and try a little harder. But what ends up happening is there's this pattern and it keeps repeating itself again and again and again. And I know because I went through that same pattern a zillion times. I lost a lot of friends in my life, right? And it wasn't until I learned the signals and signs that I could find peace with not being friends with some people anymore. Because for me, I felt like if I'm not friends with them anymore, or if I leave them behind, I'm a bad person. I'm unloyal. Like, I can't do that. They need me. I need them, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, if something feels so off, you staying in that friends group means you're actually just abandoning yourself. And at one point, you can't take it anymore. So if you're at this point right now in your life where you don't know for sure, is it true? Is this friendship expiring? Or should I just hold on and keep fighting for it? Here's how you will know. The first big sign for me, and I just want to say that there are a million different signs, but I feel like there are three major ones that once they pop up in your reality, you'll know. So the first one is you'll start feeling like you speak different languages all of a sudden. And it's just so random because you've known them forever. Obviously, you have like the same opinions, you kind of see the world from the same lens. That's why you're friends. Like, you agree on a lot of things, you love spending time together, like you just click and you guys make sense. And then randomly and suddenly they're talking about something and you're like, how do I fit in this? Like, that's not what I want to talk about. That's not what I meant. Or you feel so misunderstood, or you feel like you're misunderstanding them because all of a sudden, even though you can have like the most normal conversation, it feels super abnormal to you. I remember this happened to me when I was sitting at the restaurant with my group of friends having like a super casual lunch, and they were talking about engagement rings. And I remember this so profoundly because at the time, none of us was in a relationship. And so I felt weird about even having this conversation because in my head, there was absolutely no point of like speaking about engagements or engagement rings or fiancés or whatever, because I was like, that's literally like so far away. I just want to get a boyfriend. Like, I remember that being my thought. But overall, I was just not interested in the engagement conversation. And then it kept going where they like talked about purses and which one was trendy and which one they want to buy next and things like that. And I get it. That's like a very typical girls' conversation. But it was just like not good enough for me. I felt like I want to talk about spirituality and something deep and like personal development and all these things because eventually that was what I was super interested in at the time. And I felt like I couldn't have these conversations with them. They wouldn't understand. And even when I tried, I just got these weird looks and it was like, yeah, okay, whatever, let's move on and let's go back to the purse conversation. But that's when it's hitting you really hard because you're like, this is the most normal thing and every other person on this planet would probably not see a problem in this. And I remember feeling so guilty for this. But I just felt like I may belong in a different room because I would have completely different conversations if these people weren't here. If I had the opportunity and people around me that would understand how I'm feeling internally, I would not be talking about this right now. And the next thing that was a super big sign for me was the energetic repulsion. It kind of goes hand in hand, all of it. Because once I felt like I can't have this conversation, they're not understanding me, and I tried to express that at one point, they didn't get it. And I don't blame them, honestly, because at the time I couldn't articulate myself well enough because I didn't really know what was happening. So I tried to explain in the best way I could, but it just came out probably weird and confusing and maybe sounded something like, I feel like I'm super different from you guys. And obviously they didn't get it. They were like, bitch, we've been hanging out for the past 10 years. Like, the fuck are you talking about? But eventually my body started to like reject them. I was standing in that room and there was nothing wrong with that room because I've been in that room forever, a million times before. Like, that was just like my second fucking home. And at this point I was standing in the room and I just felt like I shouldn't be here. And I could feel like nothing bad happened, but I shouldn't be friends with them. I just shouldn't. And then you get this confusion in your head where you are so torn between these two sides because you're like, one part of you is trying to hold on because they make up a big part of your identity and who you are. And then there's this other part of this new version of you that's trying to emerge that can really be born when you still stay stuck in your old life. That's how it feels today. That's how I would best describe it. But back then it was just like, ooh, it just doesn't feel good anymore. I was sitting there and I should be happy and I should have a good time, but I didn't. And the last big sign for me was when I started making excuses to see them. And I feel like that is the point that I felt like I was not being true to myself because I don't consider myself a liar. And I was lying. I was making shit up to not go and see them. Obviously, it wasn't intentional in a way where I wanted to hurt them, but I wanted to protect myself. It was more like, if I make up an excuse, I don't have to go and see them and I don't have to feel lonely again. Because eventually what ended up happening was when I was with them and I shouldn't be lonely, I actually felt the loneliest. I felt like so misplaced, misunderstood, unseen, all the different things. And so I was more at peace on my own. So I didn't want to go there anymore. And I didn't want to confront them because I didn't have the balls. That's just what it is at the end of the day. I didn't have the balls because I didn't want them to see me in a different light. I didn't want them to hate me. I didn't want them to become my enemies. I loved them. I just didn't want to be friends anymore. And I didn't know how to handle that. And so when you reach that point where you feel like you're not speaking the same language, you can feel energetically something like just trying to drift you away from them. And then you start making up excuses and excuses that are like super stupid. It's like that kind of excuse where you're like, oh, I got this test that I got to study for. And it's like not super true. Or it's like, I really can't make it. My dog isn't feeling well. Your dog is all right. And normally you would go and see them. Even if you were busy, like you would make it a priority and go and see them nonetheless because you've been doing this for like ever. But now you're like, what can I use as an obstacle or prevention to not have to go and see them? That's when you reach a point where I would say, honestly, baby girl, I know this sucks. It's hurtful. It's not going to be pretty. But once you've done it and once you've cut the ties, you will feel so much lighter and you will feel freed in a way. And you will feel like, oh my God, I finally stood up for myself. And I know it can give the impression that you're going to be so lonely afterwards. But the truth is, I felt lonely staying there. I never felt lonely afterwards. So if you resonate with that, if you are in this situation right now or in this position in your life, let me know. Write it in the chat, in the comments, and let's have a chat about it. I want to know. I'm super curious. I get it. I've been there a million times before, so I see you. And if you are like, I want to progress in my life and I want to like get more into personal development and get more into all these things because you desire a different life than the one you're living right now, even though there's nothing wrong with that. You just have this craving for something more. I honestly recommend you get my free workbook. Inner Work to Successful Results. Like I said, it's 100% free, and it's the perfect workbook that will teach you and show you why you're stuck, where you're stuck, and what you can do to make that shift that actually is going to help you change your life for the better and help you like create the results that you desire and fulfill your dreams. Because I know you have dreams, and just because some people may not understand where you are coming from right now or may not understand your evolution doesn't mean and shouldn't mean that you need to stay stuck to please them and play small because you're so afraid of outgrowing them. It's okay to outgrow them. You have full permission to not be friends with some people for the rest of your days. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. If you love this video, let me know. Give it a like, share it with somebody you trust, and I see you in the next one.